And we are back to talk about the latest episode of Ahsoka, episode 3, where nothing really happened. We were talking about this privately on Facebook earlier, but yeah, nothing really went down. They just go from point A to point B, and that's it. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but if the first two episodes were set up, this is the journey to the payoff. That's essentially how I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, I think people really noticed the slow pace of events because we only got one episode this week, and last week we had two. I think that's just the difference. But I mean, from what we had, I mean, I think there was one big kind of embarrassing part of this episode. But for the most part, I did like the character interaction between Sabine and Ahsoka. Like, I thought it was still slow. I thought the dialogue is still just like you can count seconds between responses, and it's ridiculous. However, I'm digging Sabine. I'm digging Sabine's frustration. I'm digging, like, it seems very real, the fact that like she's not very good at the Force, and you feel that frustration. And I think it's kind of nice that she's not, that good at the Force. There's something, it's almost like an anti-Mary Sue kind of situation, right? Where she's not automatically good. This is like the first time we've had a character like this that just can't do it, right?
Well, I kind of hate how that's true because at this point, Sabine has become the only character on screen to use a lightsaber. Well, she and Han have become the only characters to use a lightsaber on screen who aren't force sensitive. Because remember that was Finn for a long time, but then Rise of Skywalker made him force sensitive.
Right.
So
yeah. So it's kind of nice, and I think they're pulling in the Last Jedi kind of thing, where they're like, oh, everybody can use the Force. It's just, some people are born with more natural talent than others. Like, it's not really. Just
I hope
limited.
that's not the case.
It seems
that's
like
so
it,
dumb.
right? It seems like it. Like, they're saying, like, the droid was like, dude, you've got, you're not good. You're not force sensitive. Like, you're the worst I've ever seen. You're the worst speed.
There's
You're
no way
worst.
She's the worst. Like, that's ridiculous.
Well,
and I think,
no, it
so
does make sense. It makes sense because why would you train somebody that's not, like, good in force sensitivity? Like, who doesn't have, like, midichlorian counts that are high? It does make sense.
I guess you can still train her to be a proficient sword fighter. Her using the Force should have nothing to do with how he trains younglings.
The thing that doesn't make sense to me, by the way, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, you're fine.
It was that was the first time she put the mask on, which the blast shield mask, and you're like, you immediately like go back to like the Luke situation in A New Hope, where he's like, with the blast shield down, how am I supposed to fight? And she kind of does the same thing and then isn't able to fight, which is, I do like that aspect of it, but wasn't she training her before? And this is the first time they've done the blast shield shit? Like, isn't the blast shield shit like day one? Because that was day one with Luke, and we saw those younglings in the prequel trilogy. And like when they're all like standing like 2 feet apart with lightsabers, like with blast shields down, the safest fucking thing for children, for toddlers to have. Having a toddler myself, now I'm just like, you gave a bunch of toddlers lightsabers, and they're just like, and then you made them blind, and then they're sitting there like 2 feet from each other, like wielding lightsabers, blind. Okay, Yoda. Anyway, like
Yoda's so proficient in the Force that if he senses danger, he can like stop the lightsaber with his mind.
Yeah, he's creating little barriers between all of them. Fine, whatever. He can do everything. But shouldn't Sabine have done the fucking helmet thing already? If they were trained,
maybe that's not day one. Maybe that's like day 16 or something, and Obi-Wan wanted to really get to that part or something. I don't know. It always seems like Star Wars is perpetually borrowing things from the original trilogy. Oh, yeah. Not only lines, but also like maneuvers and stuff. You kind of want them to always do something new and not have that be the standard. But
yeah, but then it doesn't have the feel. Like, she opened the closet, and in the closet you saw the little spheres, the lasers.
The remotes?
Yeah, the little remotes. You're right. like it's almost like you feel like you have to bring back all of this stuff from the familiar to make it seem like it's in the same universe. But realistically, the galaxy is pretty diverse. They shouldn't be running into the same stuff very much. Like, you know, you shouldn't be running into the same people, the same characters, the same technology. It's an enormous universe. It's funny that there's so much uniformity in ships and everything. Like, you know, you just go somewhere like else, like with say food, you know, and it's like you eat mac and cheese here in America, and then you go to India, and then everybody's still eating mac and cheese. Like, it's just not like you're in this huge galaxy, right? Like, they should have other shit. Like, it shouldn't be the same goddamn remotes that look exactly the same. But whatever. Whatever.
Her trying to use the Force to like levitate or to bring the cup to her. I think we're gonna get a fake out later on where the chips are down, the good guys are down, she gets knocked down, and the lightsaber is thrown away from her. And as she's about to die, she's reaching for the lightsaber in the distance, and all of a sudden it moves, and it moves towards her, but it misses her, and then we see, like, Ezra, he comes back, and he grabbed it. I think that's what they're going for. I can already see it in my mind. That's, like, the thing. Because it happened in Force Awakens, if you remember, you know, Kylo beats Finn, and then Kylo is using the Force to get Luke's lightsaber,
right.
but then it like goes past him and goes to Rey. So I feel like we're gonna get something like that. I think it's gonna be like a fake out.
Well, there's gotta
her using the Force.
There's got to be some payoff, right? Where she keeps trying, and then it doesn't happen, you know, and then eventually it does happen in some way. But you're saying it's got to be like a big fake out versus like her finally being able to use the Force a little bit.
Yeah. The one thing I also want to get to before we get into this episode is something we did not talk about last episode. And I hate that I have to bring this up because this is a point that grifters have brought up. And it's not that I want to disagree with them because
everybody's hot. They're bringing up the fact that everybody's hot.
No, that's not what. And because someone has said this to me on social media that you only disagree with these people because you're politically opposed to them. Not true. But something they have said before and complained about is starting to become very apparent now that we have more content.
Okay.
They said this stuff before when we didn't have all of this new stuff.
Okay, what?
Lightsabers kind of suck. Sabine got stabbed in the stomach, and then she comes out completely okay. And this has been a continuous thing in Disney's Star Wars, where characters are constantly stabbed in the abdomen, and they just come out okay. Happened to Sabine, it happened to the Inquisitor in Kenobi, happened to Reva, the other Inquisitor in Kenobi, the black woman. It happened to the character of Cal Kestis in the video game. It just continues to happen. But it like, what the fuck? So lightsabers are only cool, or I'm sorry, lightsabers are only deadly when it needs to be deadly in the plot, and I hate that.
Well, can you give me an example of a lightsaber killing someone?
Yes, Qui-Gon Jinn. He was stabbed in the stomach.
Okay, there's one, and then Darth Maul was sliced in half. But in the original trilogy, like Obi-Wan, like vanished when a lightsaber like headed towards him, and then I think here's the thing: is the original trilogy is not very consistent. So we have one death with a lightsaber, but he's kind of Force ghost. He kind of vanished, right? So we don't even see it. So then, the Wampa gets his arm cut off at the beginning of Empire Strikes Back and dies. And there's blood on the ground. Okay, there's blood on the ground. The lightsaber doesn't cauterize shit. Okay? And the Wampa dies. Okay? When he gets his arm cut off. And then what happens later in that same goddamn movie? Luke gets his hand cut off. It cauterizes, doesn't pass out. He's fine. Gets his hand repaired.
True.
Okay? So,
But that's a limb. That's a limb. You can lose a limb and still
I
survive.
think you'd pass out. I think there's like a blood loss, I think you'd pass out. I think there's a blood loss, like blood pressure thing that would happen to you if you just like lost a limb. You're not.
Or are you in shock?
Yeah, stuff like that. Like you don't just have that happen, right? And then
True.
Obviously, but in that, like, lightsaber didn't cauterize, and then it cauterizes in the same movie. So I mean, like, come on, like, if you're gonna be so like critical of lightsabers, go back to the original lightsabers, and it's just like they don't seem to fucking work. They don't work right, you know.
What about all those guys that Luke killed in your favorite movie?
In Return of the Jedi, I guess he's like
the...
he's hacking people right and left and toss,
Yeah.
But I don't know if they died, because later on I find that Bib Fortuna is somehow alive. I mean, before he was killed by Boba Fett in the Book of Boba Fett, and he was blown up on a barge. So who knows who knows? And everybody can climb out of the Sarlacc pit, because come on. It's like main characters don't die, and these lightsabers, are just silly. They're silly, and they do whatever people want them to do. Come on.
What's annoying is, so, like, when you stab someone with like a knife, or using a spear or whatever,
right?
There's bone and cartilage and whatever. You have to stab and, like, in a thrust motion, and then also pull the thing out, and also in a
right.
reverse thrust motion.
It's a little weird. It's a little weird that she pulled out in the same motion, rather than just like moving to the side. Like,
moving it to the side. Lightsaber is not like a blade, where a blade could get like stuck on like bone and cartilage and all that stuff. The lightsaber does not have that limitation, so you could 100% move it to the side.
Kind of, except in Phantom Menace, when they're opening the door with their lightsabers, they do keep stabbing that, and for some reason the lightsaber isn't very good at going like on its side. So I don't understand that. I mean, but you're right that this laser, you think it would just be like a hot knife through butter, and it would just be like, but they do that weird door shit in the Phantom Menace, and I don't know what's going on with that door. Like, why can they stab the door, and then they're trying to like move it up, and it's like going slow and stuff like that. And
I'm assuming the door is like some reinforced bullshit extended universe lightsaber resistant thing,
and not like Ahsoka when she like uselessly like shoots out her lightsaber super fast to cut like a hole in the floor so she could drop down when no one was around. Like, why would you do that so fast in the first episode? Like, there's no need.
It's cool,
but no one's watching, so who except herself. I'm gonna be cool to myself. So, like, come on. It's just, who cares? It's a. We could argue that she didn't want to kill her. We could argue that the villain didn't want to kill her. We'll find out later.
True. It could be that they're like, I know the Star Wars fandom hates this word, but it could be that they're gray Jedi. They're not really evil. They're just, they don't follow the Jedi code.
Yeah.
So,
have you heard the theory about why stormtroopers like miss all the time?
Yeah, because I think we've discussed this before in the past. Is that because they're like real people and they don't want to kill?
Right.
They're just drafted. They don't want to kill.
They're actually like good, kind-hearted people who like don't actually want to kill, and our heroes are a bunch of freaking psychopaths. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
We can't blame our heroes for being psychos and killing stormtroopers en masse, because they're faceless people. If we saw their faces, maybe you'd hesitate.
Yeah. I guess so. I mean, they do have no problem hitting Mando. It's just that Mando's protected,
I know we're complaining a lot, but
no, I'm not. I'm defending the whole thing. I'm like, look, I can get by like her getting stabbed and surviving. It's fine.
I'm complaining a lot, but I do want to give a hot take.
You want the best character in the whole series to be killed off immediately. It's Sabine. Like, come on. Like, if it were Ahsoka,
not killed off, but like,
if it were Ahsoka, I'd be like, thank
tank.
God she's dead. Oh my God, thank God Ahsoka's dead.
I don't want Sabine to die like the first episode, but like take her out of commission for a bit, put her in a bacta tank, something. Fuck, she just. Like, god damn. Anyways,
it is true that you've got the miraculous bacta tanks. Like, you might as well like use you already have the get out of jail free card of death. You've got bacta tanks, and you're like okay, but bacta tank, you know?
Yeah,
it's like having a 20th level cleric in your D&D party. Like, it doesn't matter. Everybody can get healed and resurrected. Anyway, continue.
The ending theme song for Ahsoka is so fucking good. I listened to it on repeat for like hours. The violin,
it is
fucking
good. It is pretty good. I even like
the show is so. The show is so beautiful. Cinematography, oh my god, holy shit! It's just filmed so well, and this really does feel like someone was telling me how. Regardless of whether or not you hate the sequels, you can't not say it wasn't filmed beautifully, the sequels. Same with this show. This show just looks absolutely gorgeous. They just somehow managed to get every shot looking
and the CGI looks good. You know, it's funny is I was just watching The Flash the other day. And you know, I'm only halfway through it. It's not as bad as everyone claimed, but the CGI is horrible. Like, just, you know, capes flow and they just look like a video game, you know, it just looks fake.
For a movie that's $200 million budget, how does the CGI suck?
Right, and here this like looks really, really good. So you know, kudos to them. It's the best looking show so far. It just has that feel. It just has a gritty, original trilogy Star Wars grit to it. That it doesn't have the sterile, I'm green screened prequel trilogy or even Mandalorian kind of like feel to it. So I do think the cinematography and directing is great. I think the acting is good. I just think that they need to pick up the pace of the dialogue. There's pacing problems. I thought everything was great. I'm loving Sabine's character. I like her struggle. I'm digging it. The one thing that I would say this episode was the Ahsoka on top of her ship thing was dumb as fuck. Like, come on.
Yeah, that was a little. Yeah, that was.
Like, why would you fly near the ship and allow her to like hack you with her lightsaber when you could just like shoot from afar? Like, it's just dumb. Like, and so Ahsoka has been relegated to, I'm gonna try to do awesome fight stuff. Like, that's all they're doing with her, because she sure as hell isn't having an interesting conversation. You know, she's just slow and dull and no fun and whatever. We're liking the droid because the droid is a dick, and we're liking Sabine because Sabine is real.
Sabine is real. She's the best character so far.
Yeah, and the villains are intriguing. You know, even though they don't have enough lines. I'd love those.
This is a weird thing about this Disney era Star Wars shows that someone pointed out to me. The titular character of the series really are not the most interesting ones. Like, the least, Mando's not that great, but like everyone around Mando is pretty cool. Yeah. Kenobi, but everyone around Kenobi was like interesting. In Book of Boba Fett, don't even get me fucking started on that shit. But like what's
you were like give me more mods and less Boba Fett. That's what we
mods.
No, but with Book of Boba Fett, I mean, you have to admit that the Tusken Raider culture was more interesting than Boba Fett. Like you know, even the weird Jennifer Beale like characters in town that didn't seem Star Wars-ish were more interesting than Boba Fett, you know. Yeah, but you're right. The title characters suck. The title characters just suck. And then everybody else is like, great.
I wouldn't go that far, but like they're just not the most interesting thing, which okay. I thought this was going to be more Ahsoka centric. I wouldn't mind a silent protagonist, her walking around investigating things. That would be kind of cool. You know, some action here and there. She is, you know, kind of the that type of Jedi. But at the same time, yeah, Sabine really does steal the spotlight, which is a good thing. As for this episode, because we're mostly talking about just the characters,
Yeah.
the episode doesn't not really much goes down. They train. Hera tries to get the New Republic to not be bureaucratic.
That was hilarious because Hera is so bad. Like, like she goes talks to a bunch of senators and then insults the fucking dude, and then asks for his fucking money. What do you think's gonna happen after you're like, what did you do during the war? Oh, sat by and did nothing, you piece of shit. Like, fuck you, your wife's a whore. Like, that's what you make, like, now give me some money. Like, what do you think, Hera? What do you think is gonna happen after you insult that dude? Fucking stupid. Stupid woman. Also, wait, is her son should be a halfie, right?
By the way,
yeah.
I'm going to make this very clear. I never heard the term halfie before you said it like a couple weeks ago on stream. I never knew that was a thing. Yeah. Never.
But is
like this is a new word to me.
Yes.
And yes, he is.
He doesn't look. Where's his fucking tentacles?
His father is Kanan Jarrus, Ezra's master, and he should be force sensitive, maybe. So we might see that kid in a future series or whatever the fuck, if they do one. But yeah, his dad was a Jedi who's now dead, and his mother is that Twi'lek, and yeah, he should kind of be.
All he got was green hair. That's all he got out of. That's all he got. Like, yep. She has green skin and massive tentacles coming out of her head, and both of those are like completely recessive. Like the human, like, he got none of that. He didn't get like a large lump on the back of his head. He didn't get like light green skin. He got nothing. Man. All right.
So Hera's trying to get the New Republic to do stuff, but of course the New Republic is bureaucratic as the Old Republic, and they are not
bureaucratic. It's funny when you go in and you insult a dude, how he doesn't like cough up the money.
Preston, we're trying to avert war here. A few insults are needed, but no, Hera's request goes unanswered, and of course Ahsoka and Sabine reach the planet where the Eye of Sion is. The Eye of Sion is just giant fucking hyperspace ship that I guess Thrawn needs to put on his ship so he can just hyperspace to this part of the galaxy, which is pretty cool. I like that. And of course they're chased by, you know, the usual suspects. Merrick the Inquisitor, who has rusted armor. I like that you can see it while he's in the cockpit, which is pretty cool. And Shin Hati, also known as Tim Pool's co-host Mary, Ghost Girl. I'm sure some of you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. It's the crazy eyes, dude. It's the fucking it's the crazy eyes.
What she's your love now, eh?
Dude, oh god, big crush. Walking red flag, of course, has to be. And and of course the episode ends as they land on the planet and prepare for a face-off with the dark gray Jedi guys. And like I said, not much really happens. It really is that episode on its way to the payoff, right? Episode 1 and 2 set it up. Yeah. 3 is on its way, and 4, I guess, will be the payoff, where we see Ahsoka fight Baylan.
Isn't it funny that the episode would have been better had they just cut out the entire, like, getting injured and Ahsoka going outside thing? Like, had they just, like, flown through and gone down to the planet and hid, like, that would have been fine. Instead, we get this weird moment where we're just like, what? It takes like so ridiculous and cartoonish that it's just out. I don't know.
Remember, I'm glad you said it's ridiculous and cartoonish, because the guy who wrote this did write for the cartoon.
That is true. That is true. Oh man.
So it was a fine episode. I didn't hate it, but I kind of wished on some level it did get pulled in with episode 1 and 2 for the premiere. But at the same time, you gotta stretch the shit out
because you're like, there's only like 5 episodes left now, and not really much has happened, right?
I mean, not much happened in this episode other than they're right where they need to be. The one thing I will say that I do like is that most of the trailers we've seen are from episodes 1, 2, and 3. So for going forward now is all new territory, with the exception of 1 or 2 scenes from the trailer. Everything else we've seen, 95% of it was from the first 3 episodes. So from here on out, it's all original stuff. Yeah, I like that they do that. They don't spoil everything.
You're saying some big surprises are going to come.
Some big surprises are going to come. But yeah, I don't really have much to say on this episode other than, yeah, it was fine. It was something, They, some callback to the original trilogy, the TIE Fighters.
What if, by the way, the actress that plays your crush,
Shinhati?
Yes, she is, her name's, Ivana Sakno. She is Ukrainian from Kyiv. Yeah.
She's only 25. Damn, she's young. Fuck.
Yeah. So, what if, as going forward, Ezra is dead and doesn't appear again? Would you be okay?
There's no way they're gonna do that. Would I be okay with that? I guess, but.
Is Ezra that great of a character? I don't know anything about Ezra because I didn't see Star Wars Rogues.
Ezra's all right. It's whatever. Ezra's whatever. This wasn't my favorite character. I don't think any of the Rebels characters were my favorites. I watched it because it was the first new show post Disney buying Star Wars. So it was like, this was all going to be canon, and you really wanted to see like, oh, what is the future of Star Wars? This was back in 2014. What does the future of Star Wars look like post Disney buying it? So that's why I watched it.
But wasn't George Lucas involved a little bit with like setting up the storyline for Rebels? Like I've seen pictures of like George Lucas sitting down with Dave Filoni.
So because George Lucas has the only reason he's ever on set for anything is because he's invited as Dave Filoni's guest. At the moment he sold it and got some stocks, he didn't have to be anywhere near any of this. I guess Dave Filoni is inviting him, and Dave, he is Dave's mentor.
This is for funsies, because Dave Filoni is nice and wants George Lucas to be involved and wants his opinion, his personal desire.
In a way, you could say that George is the master and Filoni is the apprentice.
I mean, George Lucas is, I wouldn't say he's the master of anything, but nonetheless.
I hate when people do that. When people go, you're like, yeah, this feels like George Lucas's Star Wars. Dude, George Lucas had so much help, specifically from his wife, for the first movie in the original trilogy. Chill, man. George Lucas had some shit ideas. In the original Star Wars, George Lucas's idea for the Death Star was it contained the actual dark side energies. It was just kind of dumb.
The original Star Wars, he had a lot of help. He also got lucky. And then, when Empire Strikes Back, had an incredible director. And after that, what do we have? We don't really have anything that great. So, George Lucas, got lucky once. He got lucky once. It's not I don't know. His other movies are fine. I don't know if you've ever seen American Graffiti. It's
I have not.
Or Howard the Duck.
I have not, thank God.
There's nothing you watch them, they're fine. I don't think Howard the Duck is a fine movie, but American Graffiti, it's a fine movie. It's just it's nothing that you'd be like, oh my gosh, earth shattering, but whatever.
But overall decent episode. Anyways, Preston, do you mind if we wrap it up here?
Sounds good.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us as always. We'll see you all next time. Have a good one.